Back to review mode. Past couple of days I've been a zombie. Literally and figuratively. Saturday was the Pittsburgh Zombie Fest 2011. We have the record again, bitches! It's now time for me to speak about another album, one that will be coming out tomorrow, which is Tuesday, October the 11th. And that is going to be the album Forever Abomination by the band Skeletonwitch. Now, Skeletonwitch is an extreme thrash metal band, and they are now on their fourth release. Their last album, Breathing Fire, actually made it to number 151 on the Billboard 200 albums, which is quite an accomplishment for a band that does have a lot of press, but at the same time, from the extreme thrash metal genre, you would not expect any band like that to really chart. But then again, let's take a look and recap September. Machine Head charted, Opeth charted, Mastodon charted, Dream Theater charted, Anthrax charted. That's a lot of bands that charted. And I'm sure there's a couple others that did as well, but those were just, the ones that I named just now, were all ones that ended up within the FYE or Billboard Top 25. It's crazy. Metal got a real great representation in September, and October looked like it was going to be a weak month, but then there's Skeletonwitch. So, what about Skeletonwitch's fourth album, Forever Abominations? Well, if you are unfamiliar with this band, you will quickly understand once listening to this record that there's a couple of things that they do very, very well. They're very pristine instrumentalists. They have a lot of great virtuosity to them, but at the same time they are willing to package all of their sound and all of their songs into very small little bundles, so to speak. So you're going to hear songs that mainly, for the most part, are not going to eclipse the 3-minute mark, with the exception of track number 1 on this album. And they're able to compress everything in a very morbid, in a very dark, and a very brutal atmosphere. And that's a triptych that is fantastic for this band, and is something that they perform very well. This also means that their live sets usually are stock-filled with a lot of different tracks, and also that it's basically a mosher's heaven. Now, this is an album that, once again, is going to retain that same philosophy. It's not going to divert all of that much. I mean, 11 tracks clocking in at 32 minutes long. If you really work out the averages there, you're looking at an average of a little bit less than 3 minutes per song. In fact, you're looking at about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So you understand that this is a band that's going to do everything very, very quickly. And you might think to yourself, wow, they're extreme thrash? I'm surprised they're not like a grindcore band or something like that. I said 11 tracks, moron! No, I'm kidding. But at any rate, the 11 tracks that you're going to get here, sometimes it really feels as though they are kind of molded together a little bit. You can understand clearly whenever one cuts off and the introduction to the next one starts. However, if you're not paying attention, you might think to yourself, wow, am I listening to a 6-minute long Skeletonwitch song? No, you just listen to 4 tracks, or 3, or whatever the number might be. The one part that I do that discourages me a little bit about this record is that with some of the songs, I feel that more could be done. It almost just feels like these songs get a very abrupt ending, and there's no real development of any sort of idea past that. And that sometimes can be a little bit frustrating, but if I've been listening to Skeletonwitch now for a number of years, so it's something that I understand is just within their style. Not to mention, it's just something that Skeletonwitch is able to accomplish very well. Think about what would happen if Municipal Waste, for example, made an 8-minute-long epic, and it was all one song, all one idea. It wasn't something that was divided up into 5 or 6 different parts. It would sound really weird. You would think that you were listening to an entirely different band, and while that sort of experimentation is, always welcome in music, it's something that just would take you off guard, and maybe not in a good way. So Skeletonwitch has a formula that's working for them, and it's working very, very well. And whenever I say the word formula, I don't mean either a formula that is, something that you go back to each and every album in order to make it sound exactly like the last one, because that seemed to work pretty well. And I don't mean Formulas Fatal to the Flesh by Morbid Angel. I mean that they have a design in which they write their music around, and it's a design that works very well, where, and compressed within those 3-minute-long tracks, they're able to change up the dynamics of it. They're able to change up the song structure. They're able to make the construction of the track, though it may be a very small little idea, they're able to make them each unique, and that's something that's very cool. Now, this band also recently had lost their drummer after the release of Breathing Fire, so they had to get a new one for this particular release, which they do. This is his debut behind the skins of Skeletonwitch, and he does an excellent job. It's something where the flow is not interrupted by the fact that they had to change somebody within the ranks of the band. He's definitely accustomed to what the band's able to do now, not to mention he's also very talented in his own right. So overall, Skeletonwitch's Forever Abomination, very, very good album. Certainly one that the thrasher, the extreme metaler, and you, if you like those two things, fuse them together, and you got an album that's perfect for all of your needs. So tomorrow, I expect each and every one of you to go out there and pick this up. I'd like to see this band not only chart, but I would like to, next Monday night, if I were to happen to work, I would like to put a couple of copies of this album up on the FYE Top 20. The only way that's going to happen, though, ladies and gentlemen, is if you go out there and you say to Skeletonwitch, you guys are good enough to be up there, so we're going to put you up there. So definitely check out this album. Definitely pick this album up. And for the love of fuck, thrash the fuck on.